Thank you so much for joining me for another Sunday meal prep video. I hope that you enjoy these videos. I put in a lot of time and work trying to prepare our meals for the whole week for my husband and I. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jennifer. I am 46 years old. I've been doing WW for a couple of years now, and pretty much kind of been maintaining my weight for the past few months. You know, sometimes I think I want to lose like 5 more pounds or so, but we shall see if that ever happens. But what we like to do is choose 2 meals for our dinners, and I make 6 servings of each, and then we just alternate those throughout the week, Sunday night through Friday night. So we pretty much just cook on Sunday, and I go ahead and prepare my breakfast for the week for work, and then for lunches I typically take a sandwich and fruit. Yeah, we don't really cook anymore during the week unless there's like something that we need to like heat up or something to go along with our meal. But otherwise, then everything is done. It makes our evenings much easier because we both work full time. We both work kind of late, and it just saves all of that angst in the evenings from coming home and trying to figure out what you want to eat. Plus, I'm not one that gets bored eating the same things, and I also feel like, you know, we swap it up every week, so we kind of look forward to picking out our 2 meals for each week. So anywho, if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and click that red subscribe button down below and that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. I typically upload 3 or 4 times per week. And also follow me over on Instagram. I will leave my Instagram handle for you here on the screen as well. And I have a really great Facebook group. It is called Finding Our Way. This is the icon to the group, and there is a direct link down in the description box to that Facebook group. Highly recommend that you join it. So let's just hop right into the video. Alright guys, real quick before we get into it, what we are going to make today is the homemade chicken noodle soup recipe. It's the same exact one that I used the last time. We loved it. Charlie loves a good homemade chicken noodle soup, and this was really perfect. I highly recommend it. This is from budgetbites.com. And I pretty much just made a few changes to it the last time that I made it, and it was perfect, so I'm going to try to make it exactly the same way. I pulled up my own video so that I could see what I had done. Basically, I leave out the olive oil, I leave out the onion. Of course, we don't usually use the onions. And then I did end up adding a can of chicken broth to it since I didn't use the bone-in chicken, so that's kind of the only difference, because this does say to use the bone-in, and I felt like it just needed a little bit more of that chicken flavor. So those are the only changes. Oh, and the noodles, it calls for egg noodles, and I'm going to use Fiber Gourmet noodles. So anywho, that is one of our meals, and then I will make the corn muffins that I always make to go along with our soups and stuff. And then I'm going to make chicken fajitas. I'm going to make them with all of the same ingredients that I'm used to, but I did see that the Skinniest Dish has an air fryer version on her website, so I'm going to look at that and see if I want to make them in the air fryer or if I just want to cook them on the stovetop like normal. Along with those, I will make the Spanish Cauliflower Rice, and that's just the cauliflower with rotel. Spice it up. It's super good. Love to eat my little baked Tostitos with that. So that is a super low point meal, and usually I'll have like 2 bags of my baked Tostitos whenever I have that meal. So dessert, we are going to do the pumpkin muffins one more time. You know, I made them the last time and I felt like they needed to be just a little bit sweeter, and so after I made them I put on the screen, you know, that I would have added some brown sugar and some monk fruit sweetener or something. I had a few people that made it that way and said that they were perfectly sweet and perfectly good, so I definitely want to try it. So we are still here in October. Really, I feel like any time is a good time for pumpkin recipes, but especially in the fall. So we are going to make another batch of those pumpkin muffins, and I cannot wait to try them this time. So let's jump into it and get her done. Alright, it is time to get ready for Charlie's prep. He has quite a bit of prep today just because of all of the peppers and everything. So since we were doing chicken fajitas, I have 6 peppers over here that he will slice up for the fajitas. And then I also have my normal 3 peppers that will just go through the dicer for my eggs and my pizzas that I like. Of course, I have my tomato as normal, and then my cantaloupe, 2 pineapples. 2 pineapples has actually turned out to be like the perfect thing, because sometimes the pineapples, unless they're huge, there's just not enough. So with these little smaller pineapples, it turns out to be just the perfect amount. And then, of course, I have my blueberries that I will just wash in the vinegar and water. And then he has some baby carrots, which I only ordered a 1-pound bag from Kroger, but they substituted the 2-pound because they didn't have a 1-pound. So I'm just going to have him just cut up however much he thinks needs to go in the soup. Probably like one of those like shallow bowls that I have full. And then same thing with the celery. This is for the chicken noodle soup as well, which the last time he cut it into like big pieces, but he learned that it is better if you do it in small pieces. I don't know if he's going to try to run this through the little dicer or not, so that they're little small pieces, or if he will just chop them. So we will just see once I edit what he ends up doing. And then we have 2 big packs of chicken breast. So we basically need 6 chicken breasts. I think each one of these has 5 in it. So 3 of them he's going to trim up and just leave whole. That's going to go in the chicken noodle soup. And then the other 3 he's going to slice up, dice up, however he does it for the chicken fajitas. And the rest he will just trim and we will put in the freezer and then use in, you know, something later. So like he just likes to trim them. We'll put them in an individual bag and then we can just get them out as we need them. And there's Mr. Nico, the little grocery inspector, to say good morning. Say good morning to everybody. Say I'm a good boy. Okay, so that is it. Charlie is ready to get to work. So let's roll into Charlie's prep.
You got that something, baby, that I can go without, just like a poison in me. You're all that I'm about. Loving the highs, don't mind the lows. It's getting out of my control. I want that something, baby, 'cause I can go without. Mama used to tell me love ain't right if it ain't easy, but I'm in too deep to walk away from you. Papa used to tell me love should never drive you crazy, but I lose my mind if you don't get his suit. I'm addicted to your love, to your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. I'm a sucker for your love, for your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. You can end it, say it's over, but I'm never going sober. I'm addicted to your love, to your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough of your love. I want your love. I need your love. 'Cause I'm never gonna get enough. Can't say I'm hurting, baby, but I don't feel too good. It's like I'm burning lately when you're not in my blood. Loving the highs, don't mind the lows. It's getting out of my control. I need your loving, baby. It's all I'm thinking of. Mama used to tell me love ain't right if it ain't easy, but I'm in too deep to walk away from you. Papa used to tell me love should never drive you crazy, but I lose my mind if you don't get his suit. I'm addicted to your love, to your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. I'm a sucker for your love, for your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. You can end it, say it's over, but I'm never going sober. I'm addicted to your love, to your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough of your love. I want your love. I need your love. 'Cause I'm never gonna get enough of your love. I want your love. I need your love. 'Cause I'm never gonna get enough. Mama used to tell me love ain't right if it ain't easy, but I'm in too deep to walk away from you. Papa used to tell me love should never drive you crazy, but I lose my mind if you don't get his suit. I'm addicted to your love, to your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. I'm a sucker for your love, for your love, your love. I'm never gonna get enough. You can end it, say it's over, but I'm never going sober.
Okay, we have our pineapple, cantaloupe, and blueberries. We're going to throw these in the bowls like normal, get them in the fridge out of the way, and then get started on that chicken noodle soup.
Sure, yeah. Wish for me to call you when you turn me on. The way you tell me you want me down. Done it, I done this before you falling. I won't catch you, don't know I'm stalling. 'Cause you love to have them all crying. Calling me sweeter, telling me you need me. But I'm from a city that's high school. I give them this and the more I go. 'Cause you a bad money, she don't love money. She break grass real fast like Cumin. Wanna swim down to the deep end. Wanna know all my secrets, honestly. Can you keep it real? 'Cause honestly, I can tell that you're real fun.
fruit and yogurt for the week, along with my tomato for my sandwiches and my diced peppers for my breakfast and my pizzas and stuff. So I'm going to put this away and we're gonna get started on the chicken noodle soup. All right, we are ready to start on this homemade chicken noodle soup. This is again from budgetbites.com. I will have it linked in the description box down below. But it calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just gonna use my olive oil spray instead because I'm not sauteing any onion or anything. So I'm leaving the olive oil out, the onion out. We will use like 3 teaspoons of the minced garlic. It calls for 3 cloves. It calls for half a pound of carrots diced and half a bunch of celery. I'm sure we probably have a lot more than that here because the packages were so big that we got. But Charlie did dice the celery into small little pieces this time. The last time he didn't. He just left it kind of in like big chunks. But after he ate it, he realized what I meant when I said small pieces. So I think this will turn out even better than it did the last time. And then it calls for 2 split chicken breasts bone in. Instead, I'm using 3 boneless chicken breasts. And because of that, I will add in some chicken broth, which I forgot to get out. But here are the seasonings that we are going to use. We're going to use some parsley, a bay leaf, some thyme leaves, some basil, and then I'm going to add in some onion powder since we're not adding the onion. Instead of the egg noodles, I'm going to use the Fiber Gourmet. I thought that I had another one of the rotini noodles, which is what I used the last time, but I don't. So we're just going to use this penne pasta. And yeah, I think the only other thing I need to get out is a can of chicken broth. And this does call for, I think, 8 cups of water to put in there. Yeah. So basically, we're going to saute the garlic in the olive oil just for a minute. You don't want to burn your garlic. And then once it is ready, we'll add in the carrots and the celery. And then we'll saute those until I feel like they're pretty good. And then we're going to add in the chicken breast, the bay leaf, the basil, the parsley, thyme, the pepper, the water. I'll go ahead then and add in the chicken broth as well. And basically, it's going to cook for about an hour. So anywho, I'm going to get all of that together and we're going to get it in the pot. And then it will just do all the work on the stove. This is a pretty simple recipe, I think. Okay, we are going to get started. We are going to spray this with the olive oil spray, and we're going to go in with 3 teaspoons of the minced garlic, or 3 cloves is what it calls for. And garlic can burn easily, so we're just going to leave it in for a few seconds, and then we'll add in the carrots and the celery. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go in with all of the celery and the carrots. And I'm just going to let that cook until these are softened up. Okay, so the carrots and the celery has been cooking for a few minutes now. So we're going to go ahead and add in everything else. So we're going to go ahead and add in the chicken breasts. And I did salt and pepper mine, just because I feel like you have to. And then I went ahead and measured out all of my seasonings, and I also have my little bay leaf in here, so we're just going to go ahead and add all of that in. Along with 8 cups of water, and this big pot from Pampered Chef that I used, I think last week, is an 8-cup measuring cup. Oops. Of course, I always have to make a little bit of a mess. And if I feel like it needs more liquid, I will add it at some point. But I am going to add in a can of chicken broth as well. So if it needs more water or whatever later, I will add it. But I'm going to go ahead and add in a can of chicken broth now. Because I did that last week and it really gave it a good chicken flavor since I didn't use the bone-in chicken. So we're just going to bring this to a boil and then bring it back down to a simmer once it starts boiling. So I'll let that get hot again and then we'll be back. Okay, so it's been a few minutes. I think we are boiling now. Oh yeah, just going to kind of give it a good little stir. And we're going to reduce the heat. You still want it to be simmering pretty strongly or else the chicken won't cook all the way through. But it's going to simmer for at least an hour at this point. So I'm just going to turn it down to like medium heat and hope that that keeps it at a good simmer. So we will be back. We will take the chicken out, we'll shred it, and then put it back in and add in the penne pasta, and then let it cook for like 7 or 8 more minutes with the pasta in there, and then it will be done. In the meantime, we will probably go ahead and make the corn muffins and get started on the chicken fajitas. We'll see. Alright guys, soup is cooking along. It's close to being done. We are going to go ahead and put together our corn muffins that we do every week. I'm going to tilt you down here. I already have everything kind of ready to go. So I have a 1.5 cups of the Martha White hot rise self-rising cornmeal mix. Any self-rising cornmeal mix will work. We're going to use 21 ounces of cream style corn. So I'm going to weigh my corn, which is going to be about 1.5 cans. There we go, perfect. And then we're going to go in with 3 tablespoons of egg whites. And there's 1, 2, 3. Excuse Ozzy, he's barking at something. I don't know what's wrong with him. If he hears a little noise, he thinks he has to be the protector. And then we are just going to mix that up real quick and divide it into the 12 muffins. This is so easy and so good. That's why I make them all the time. Okay, so we have it mixed up well. We are just going to spray our muffin tin pretty well. We don't want them to stick. And then I'm just going to use my little ice cream scoop and divide it into 12 muffins. We're going in the oven 400 degrees for 15 minutes. Alright, our chicken I think is probably done and ready to shred. It's seeming pretty tender. So I'm going to get the chicken breast out. Well, if I can. It's hot. Okay, I got the chicken breast out. Now it says just to kind of lightly shred them. It doesn't have to be shredded into super small pieces. So I'm just going to kind of do it with the fork real quick. You can have some larger chunks of chicken in here. It doesn't matter. You can shred it really finely if you want to. And now at this point it says to season the broth with salt, starting with a teaspoon. I think the last time I did 2 teaspoons and it was like perfect, so I think that's what I'm going to put in. I mean, I did salt and pepper my chicken, but I have not like really salted the broth. I was waiting until this step to do that. So I'm just going to go in with, this may barely be 2 teaspoons. I might have to get a refill of my salt. We'll just finish that off. We'll have to refill that. My salt and pepper is almost empty. And then I'm just going to give it a stir and get my chicken shredded, and we're going to put the chicken back in. Oh no, we're not going to put the chicken back in until after the pasta cooks. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my pasta, and then we're going to just set a timer for like 7 minutes so that it'll be al dente. So I added my pasta in there, the penne pasta from Fiber Gourmet, and I'm going to raise this back up to a boil and boil it for 7 minutes. And finish shredding my chicken. And then once the timer goes off, I'm going to put the chicken back in and let it simmer for just a few minutes and it will be done. And it turned out excellent the last time that I made it, so I hope it does this time as well. Alright, so our pasta has been boiling now for 7 minutes. We're going to add the chicken back in, but I feel like I need a little bit more liquid. I don't know if you can see that, it's so steamy. But I have the chicken shredded up here, so we're just going to put it all back in. And yeah, so there's like really no broth left. I thought that it was seeming like it was pretty low on liquid. So I think I'm going to add some chicken broth in there instead of just water. So we'll add a couple of cups of chicken broth and a couple of cups of water. It's going to be my corn muffins. That way it's soupy enough. Okay, so I added a little more chicken broth and some more water in there, and then I added some more salt and pepper. I'm going to let it simmer for a few minutes, and I think that it is about done. We will be ready to plate it up. Here are the corn muffins fresh out of the oven. They are looking perfect. Y'all know we love these. they almost come out perfect every time. I mean, it's really hard to mess these up. I have before because I do make mistakes. One time I got them way too dry, so I'm not sure what I did that time. But anywho, for the most part, they turn out perfect. And it is just a perfect little side, in my opinion, to soups and chilies and things like that. So, got this done. Fixing to plate up the chicken noodle soup, and we will put these in a container to have to heat up on the nights that we have the soup.
How did we end up here in the corner, looking like enemies? We used to be the team people talk about, what a chemistry. I can see it in your eyes. You don't wanna talk anymore. I wanna get so numb, while we enemies. No, you don't mind the way I stutter my words. You know exactly what it means and how it hurts. Oh, I can't believe you're here. Can't get any worse. No.
Alright, here are the plated up bowls of chicken noodle soup, which, as you can see, are very, very hearty. And I think this comes out to 2 points per serving with my modifications that I made to the recipe without using the olive oil and using the Fiber Gourmet noodles instead of the egg noodles. And then, of course, we will pair it with the corn muffins. So this will end up to be a total of like a 9-point dinner. 2 points for the soup and then 7 points for 2 of the muffins. They are 3 points each, but with Weight Watchers math, they round up to 7. So, looking good, and thanks to Charlie for plating this up for me. Okay, I am finally ready to start on the chicken fajitas. So for that you will need some chicken. Charlie has cut up, I think this is 3 chicken breasts sliced up. We have a bunch of bell peppers for it. For seasonings, we're going to salt and pepper the chicken really good, of course. Use chili powder, ground cumin, and then we will use a lot of fajita seasoning kind of on the chicken, on the peppers, and then for the Spanish cauliflower rice, we are going to add a can of original rotel and a can of fire roasted rotel, and then also season, well, with all of these, salt, pepper, all of them will kind of have the same thing. And then in the chicken, we will also add the Frontera Fajita skillet sauce. This stuff is delicious, makes it taste really good. So, yep, I'm going to try to see how quickly I can get this together because we got such a late start today, even later than last week, and I need to get this done and get my pumpkin muffins made. Okay, so we are going to get started. I'm going to put my chicken in. I'm going to spray my pan, and then we are going to, maybe so you can actually see, we're going to salt and pepper the chicken kind of on this side, and then I put it in, and then I like to salt and pepper the other side. And then we're just going to salt and pepper this side. It really doesn't take long to make these once the chicken gets to cooking. Really the peppers kind of take longer, so I need to get those in quickly. Going to spread that around a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and put our peppers in this skillet here. So we'll spray it good. And then I'm just going to kind of lightly salt and pepper the peppers. And put a little bit of the fajita seasoning on there. We will mix this together with the chicken once the chicken's done. And then I am going to pop the lid on that so that the peppers will try to soften up as quickly as possible. And then for the cauliflower Spanish rice, we're going to cook it in this pot here. We'll go ahead and turn this on. We want our cauliflower to soften up first, so we're just going to go ahead and add in both bags. And sorry if that chicken's getting loud, but it is what it is. So I've kind of broken those up as much as I could before I open it, or else it's like one huge chunk. And same thing, we're just going to salt and pepper. And I'm just going to put the lid on until this softens up, and then we'll add the rest of the seasonings to that as well. I'm back to the chicken. It's cooking away. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to swap out my battery and get this chicken to cooking. Okay, so our chicken is cooking up pretty good, pretty quickly. And we're just going to let it cook through until it's not pink any longer. And I do kind of like to sear it good to where it's kind of crispy on the edges. Then we will add in the fajita seasoning, the ground cumin, the chili powder, and most of this packet of Frontera sauce, and then I will add a little bit of the Frontera sauce on the peppers as well. But it's all going to get mixed together anyway. So the cauliflower is softening up nicely. And let's check our peppers. They probably need a stir. Okay, so the fajitas are looking pretty good. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Did I say fajitas? I meant the peppers. The peppers are looking pretty good. Turn the heat down a little bit and just let them keep softening up some more. Okay, so the cauliflower has softened up pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and season it up and add in the rotel. I'm trying to get a good sear on my chicken over here. I know it's loud. So we're going to go in with some chili powder and some ground cumin and some of the fajita seasoning, 1 can of fire roasted rotel, 1 can of original rotel, and then pretty much we're just going to mix this up and let it simmer until all of the liquid pretty much dissipates from it. And then it will pretty much look like regular rice. And it won't taste like cauliflower at all. It's delicious. So we'll just kind of occasionally stir this. It takes a few minutes for, you know, all of the liquid to dissipate and all of the seasonings to kind of come together on that. And then back to our chicken. So it's getting nice and brown on that one side there. It's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat down on it, and we are going to add in probably 3/4 of this packet of Frontera sauce. We're going to go in with some ground cumin, some chili powder, and quite a bit of the fajita seasoning. Now I'm just going to turn the heat down low and let that simmer for a little bit and check on my peppers. It's looking good, y'all. That Frontera sauce really makes that so good. Okay, the peppers are looking good too. I'm going to cut the heat off there. And we're just going to add the peppers into the chicken and the rest of the Frontera sauce. Just going to give this a good stir and just kind of let this sit here for a few minutes. I almost forgot the rest of my Frontera sauce, I just said it. So pretty much this dish is going to be done as well. The cauliflower rice just needs to simmer for a few more minutes for all of the liquid to dry up, and it will be ready to plate up. And then all we have left to make are the pumpkin muffins. Charlie was nice enough to plate up the chicken noodle soup, which you will see. So we have that already plated up. We have the corn muffins ready. We have this almost ready. I'm going to plate it up, and then we will make the pumpkin muffins and we'll be done. Woohoo! Alright, I'm ready to plate up the chicken fajitas and then the cauliflower rice. I'm going to put the chicken fajitas on one side and then the cauliflower rice on the smaller side. These green bowls are perfect for that. And since this is pretty much I think it's 1 point for the chicken fajitas because of the Frontera sauce, I'm just going to eyeball it and divide it as evenly as I can. And then the cauliflower rice is 0 points. So I will definitely have 2 bags of my baked Tostitos whenever I have this dish. But let's just get this plated up real quick.
I really wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in my life, but I never really put up a fight. Didn't follow my dreams, and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say it'll all be okay. Just listen to me as I say. Slow it down, dreams still yours if you want it.
Alrighty, here are the plated up chicken fajitas with the Spanish cauliflower rice. Again, this whole meal comes out to 1 point, so I definitely think this is a great way to get in a nice hearty meal with very little points. I will add a couple of bags of my baked Tostitos to it. Those are 3 points per bag, so it will end up to be a total of a 7 point dinner, which I still think is really, really good. But anywho, looking delicious. I am ready to make the pumpkin spice muffins again, and these come out to 2 points each. For this, you are going to need 2 cups of the Kodiak cakes. I like to use these carb conscious ones. And then we are going to need half a can of 100% pure pumpkin. Make sure it is not the pumpkin pie filling that has the stuff mixed in with it. We're going to use half a cup of the non-fat Greek yogurt. Any brand is fine. I like the Chobani. We're going to have 2 eggs in there. We are going to do 1/4 cup of sugar-free syrup. I like the Karis. This one's almost gone, but I do have another bottle back here, of course, as a backup. This might be about 1/4 cup. I'm not sure, so we shall see. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to do 48 of the Lily's pumpkin spice flavor baking chips. You can use any flavor baking chips probably that you have on hand would be good in there. Butterscotch ones would probably be good as well. I have those. I thought about that. I am going to add in some of the monk fruit sweetener. The last time I did not add this in. I think I'm going to add 1/4 cup of this in and 1/4 cup of the brown sugar swerve in as well. And then once I get it all done, I will take some of the monk fruit sweetener and sprinkle it on the top because that really gives it a nice little sweet taste. Let's see here. I think these just have to cook for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees. So let's throw them together and get this done. All right, we are going to go in with all of our dry ingredients first on the muffins. So I'm just going to weigh out 2 cups of the Kodiak cakes. So half a cup is 53 grams. So for 2 cups, I'm going to need, what, 212 grams, I think. So it'll definitely finish this one off. And then I'll have to open my new one. That only had 131 grams left. There we go, 213. Perfect. 1 gram over. That's perfect to me. Okay, so we have our 2 cups of Kodiak cakes. Now, let's see here. We are going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I think I forgot to say that a while ago, but it was sitting up here. We're going to go ahead and put 1 teaspoon of this in. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. It's probably going to use all of this. There's 1, 2. We'll just finish that off. But I think I have another big thing from Sam's Club so I can refill my cinnamon. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. I love the smell of this, y'all. It smells so good. So there's 2 teaspoons of that. Now the last time I did not add any additional sweetener into it, but this time I am going to do 1/4 cup of the monk fruit and 1/4 cup of the swerve brown sugar, which does not add any additional points. I love these. Whoever came up with these was a genius. I love both the Lakanto and the Swerve products. I think that might be all of the dry ingredients except for the chips, which I'm going to add those in last. Let's see here. Kodiak cakes. I got that. Got that. That. It's all liquid. Okay, good deal. So I'm just going to mix my dry ingredients together and then we'll just add in the wet ingredients. Okay, so I think that is mixed pretty well. We're going to go ahead and go in with our wet ingredients. So I have my 2 eggs here. I always like to break those into a different bowl. And we're going to go in with our teaspoon of vanilla. And then we need half a can of pumpkin, which is going to be about 212 grams or so. There's 425 grams in here in the can. Then we need half a cup of the non-fat Greek yogurt. So I'm going to get that measured out. So here's half a cup of yogurt. I'm going to put that in. And then we'll do half a cup of the sugar-free syrup. I think earlier I might have said 1/4 cup, but I meant 1/2 cup. Okay, so we need half a cup of the sugar-free syrup. I don't know how much this is going to be. Not enough. Finish that off. And of course, I have another. So I think that is all of our wet ingredients. So I'm just going to mix this up well, and then we will add in our baking chips, and then it'll be ready to divide into the muffins. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. That is a good consistency. You know, if it needed something, if it was too dry, you could always add in a little almond milk or something, but I don't find that it needs it. Just with the pumpkin and the sugar-free syrup and the yogurt, it gives it the perfect consistency. So I have my 48 pumpkin spice chips, which is not very many measured out here, but you know, it's got a lot of pumpkin flavors going on in there anyway. And I do not want to increase the points of it. I like it because they are a true 2-point muffin. And I'm going to clean up real quick and then we will get them portioned out. Okay, we are ready to spray our muffin tin. And I'm going to use my little handy dandy ice cream scooper. I've got 2 or 3 of these. And we are just going to divide it into 12 muffins.
There's no need to complicate things. Let's stick to the basics. We both know what we want. Let's just keep it simple. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We dance on the same wavelength. This feels like a new beginning. We both know what we want. Let's just keep it simple.
Okay, so we have it divided out. One last step is I'm going to take some of the monk fruit sweetener and sprinkle on top, and that really gives it a good little sweet taste that kind of crystallizes on the top. I love it. Okay, perfect. They are going in for 15 minutes, 350 degrees. Of course, you could adjust that up or down depending on how your oven cooks, but the last time 15 minutes was perfect for mine. Alrighty, we have finally finished meal prep for the day. So of course over here as usual I have my 7 containers of fruit with yogurt that I will take for my lunches, and then I will have my turkey sandwich with that for lunch every day. Here we have the homemade chicken noodle soup, which is a super delicious, super easy recipe to make. Highly recommend. Along with that we have the corn muffins, and that will end up to be a 9-point dinner. I'll have 2 muffins and the soup itself alone is just 2 points. And then we have the chicken fajitas. This is a really low point meal. This is only 1 point for this whole meal on the blue plan. And then I will have the baked Tostitos with that too. I love to eat that and scoop the cauliflower Spanish rice with the baked Tostitos. And then I have my bacon and eggs fixed for the week. 10 pieces of bacon there, so I'll have 2 strips of bacon each day along with a thing of the eggs. And then over here we have our pumpkin muffins. I literally just pulled them out of the oven, so they are hot. They are not ready to pull out of there yet, but we had everything else ready and wanted to go ahead and close out. So sorry it is not plated up all nice and pretty, but I was scared to pull them out too soon. So anywho, overall I have completed another successful meal prep. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me for another Sunday meal prep video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you try some of these recipes. Let me know down in the comments if you do try the recipes and what you think. We love these. We've had both of these recipes before. This is just the second time making the chicken noodle soup, but we've had the chicken fajitas a lot, so we know that we love those. And then I'm super excited to try the pumpkin muffins again. Now that I have added in the additional sweetener, I think that we will like them that much more. We literally just pulled them out of the oven, so that's why they are still in the pan. But we are ready to put all this away and close out for the day. So anywho, thank you so much to everybody that makes it all the way to the end, especially my Jennifer's Gems. You know I love y'all. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah.